Yum, yum!
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Pixel Fondue. My name is Chris. Today we're going to work on getting some weight maps on this mesh here, right? The eyeball mesh does not need anything, but the eyelid is going to need a weight map for the top lid to come down and a weight map for the bottom lid to come up. Right, so that's really what we're going to work on today. It's nothing too complicated, but there's a few little tricks we can play with fall-offs to try to get this weight map nice and smooth so this deforms nicely. Right? Basically, this is kind of what ends up getting set up. Right? I've got this main mover here. I'll open up this so we can kind of see what's happening. Right? This thing, everything's parented to this, right? I will have, there's the eyelid, here's the eyeball, right? The eyelid goes into three different things. There's the lattice that controls the entire two meshes. Then there's the top lid and the bottom lid rotation area, right? These are the weight maps. These are the things that do the rotating, right? Everything's nice and labeled so it's easy to understand, right? I got my two meshes down here at the bottom. You see where they feed into, and you see where these controllers feed into. Right, it's nothing too complicated, but we're going to start doing some of this, right? You see one of these. This was the initial one, right? The bottom one hasn't been done yet. We'll end up deleting everything, then kind of starting from scratch, and it'll be nice and pretty when we're done. I'll be using the Zen interface, or at least a modified Zen interface. It's it'll throw some people off, but the procedure is going to be the same. Right? There's nothing too special other than how it looks. Right? This won't be a hindrance to you. But this is pretty much what we're going to do today. We're going to work on some weight maps and get things kind of hooked up for deformers. Alright, there we go. Alright, well, let's get started. Okay, good morning. Welcome to Pixel Fondue. My name's Chris. Let's get started. We're going to do some weighting for the eyelid, put some weight maps on this to close the eyelid and open it. And we're going to put a lattice deformer on the whole mesh so we can have the eyeball and the lid working together. Alright, so let's take a look. Let's open up this stuff. We're going to need tools and tool properties. And while we're here, I'm going to open up the schematic. We'll have access to that too. Right, so our maps, let's see, they've already got my UVs, we're all good there, so these things are ready to go. So what we need, first things first, I'm going to put a locator on top of this. Everything will go to this. There's my locator. Now the next things I'm going to start adding, I'm going to add a transform effector for the lattice, right? I want a lattice on this thing. So this is at 1, 1, 1. No auto fitting. Let me see. Go to locator. I'm going to have it parented to that thing right here. Okay. So it gave me that. Okay, good deal. Got that right now. Okay, so we got a good start. Now I'm going to need a transform effector for the lid, two of them, up and down. So let me see, so I'm in item mode again. Let's see, deformers, I need 1, 2. Right, let's see what we got here. So there's my locator, there's my transforms. Now then, this effector, you see these are the locators. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's what those are, right? If you only got one of them selected, that's the one you got, right? Got to keep track of that. All right, so what we need an extra influence here. We need to have something for this lattice to look at. What we can do there is go back to the deformers, add a new deformer. I've already got it in recent, but type in general. So now we should have, let's see, our deformers are here, locators are over here, everything seems to be going okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label these things up, and then I'll pause while I do that so you don't have to watch me type. Okay, here we go. Things have been labeled up, and I'm going in and just adding in these weight deformers, right? The weight maps right there. If you notice quickly, I have the initial value unticked. I don't want that to have anything, so we're starting with 0. So you'll probably have to, it defaults to toggled on. So I'd make sure my weight maps are at 0, so I start with nothing. Okay, now we're going to populate the schematic with things we're going to use. I'm going to do it the slow way. If you have things selected, you could just drag them over, or you can hit that selected button right there in the schematic. So I'm just going to organize this so it's easy to read and easy to select later on. Okay, selecting the meshes, that's the eye and the eyelid. And now I've got those. Now I need the actual influences. Here we go. These pieces contain the data that the effectors will effect. So I'm just organizing these up. You see there's the lattice stuff right there. There's the, I got the top one on top, bottom one on bottom. I'm just showing you how they connect there. The effectors go into the effector. The geometry goes into geometry. So I've got these set up to make it look nice. The color codes just help for clarity. So now there's something missing. Right, I got to make this connection, right? The other things are now connected because they're built that way. These things, this lattice, I need to start to connect. Right? So the effector goes into the deformer there. Now I need to plug both of the geometries into the lattice because the lattice affects both of them. I'm just checking to make sure my toggles are correct so we can see what's happening. You say, oh no, it's not going to work. Nothing on the outside of that bounding box of the lattice will get affected by it. Right? You can see that right there. So the lattice has to be bigger than the thing you're affecting. It always needs to be a little bit bigger. You'll see that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger. So I want everything contained within that bounding box. Now I should be good to go. Okay, I'm just going to zero all that out so we start at nice and fresh number. Let me see. Oh, it's not working. Well, because we're not connected. The schematic shows that. So I reconnect those pieces to those ports. And reorganize real quick. A little anal about that. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, now I connect those. It should work. Both of those mesh items feed that deformer so that they both work. Any way you grab those, that thing starts to warp inside of it. Really good way to get some good definition for shapes. Alright, where are we at now? Okay. Now if you notice, I just select that top effector, but it's affecting the whole lid. This is not what we want. I have to go look at this. Alright, so I go into the weight map area. You'll see where it is. That deformer is looking for that. Entire mesh, I'm going to go to weight map. Then I'm going to make sure the top goes to top, bottom goes to bottom. Right, this is all the manual way, right? We just want to make sure everything looks right, everything shows up right, and we know where to go. Okay, so everything seems to be going all right. Now it's not turning anything now because their weight maps themselves have no data in them yet. That's what we're going to do next. Alright, those weight maps are 0. We're going to do this by ourselves. Okay, before we get started with the weight mapping, I'm going to do the final thing here is try to organize the item list here a little bit. This is my main locator for this eyeball, so I want everything up under there. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here, select, make sure I have that thing selected. Let's see where we at. Custom shape. Right, I don't want a big ball or a big square in the middle of the eye, so what I'm going to do is change this to a circle. Right now, we don't need this right there. Let's see, my axis will be Y, so it's going to be up and down, right? Size-wise, it's almost right, but I'm going to try and make that thing a little bit bigger than the eyeball. Now, let's see, what else am I going to do? I'm going to offset this down a little bit, right? Let's see, Y negative. Whoops. I'm going to put it just below everything, so it's, well, just above. That'll probably be okay, right? Maybe down here. I got to think. We might change that a little bit later as we stretch this eyeball out. What's that? I'll make it a nice even 1, right? I don't know, maybe 9. Yeah, that's fine. Alright. And the last thing, solid. I don't want it solid. There's just a little circle there to grab. Right? That makes this thing nice and easy to control. Right? If I want to control it, I can just grab this. I don't have to go dig it in here. Alright. Okay, that's that part. Now then, what I'm wanting to do, I'm going to take these 2 things, put them in here. I'm going to take all of these, put them in there. And now I've got this little rig right here. It should work. I should be able to take this, move it all around, right? Alright, so far so good. Okay, that's the last couple of minutes for this. So everything is now underneath this one little locator. Right, I've got all my effectors, my meshes, and your deformers are under your meshes, right? Their deformers go to the meshes, and then the red things, the effectors, affect the deformers, which propagate into the geometry. Alright, well, that's about it for that. So next project will continue on getting into this weight map. Alright, that's it.
Yum, yum!